Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our neck of the woods. So in today's video, as the title says, we're going to go ahead and finish the under porch here and show you what design Aaron and I have picked. And thank you for everybody's suggestion. We have decided on the side here, there will be no trim. I know that was a resounding no, do not put trim there. So that's how it's going to look there. And we are going to trim out, though, again, at least up here. So we cover up the tape, we cover up these brackets, and we make the front of this look nice. And that'll be the only thing that will actually have trim on it. But the 6x6s will be exposed. And again, let me tell you what our design is going to be, and we'll go purchase all the lumber, and then we'll get started today. All right, so hopefully we can knock a lot of this out today. I worked all last night, so this is kind of like an all-nighter or an all-dayer, as I've been working all night. But the design that Aaron and I decided to go with is actually running these 2x6s horizontal all the way over in between all of the 6x6s, and we're gonna space them out probably about 1/2 of an inch. And then we'll paint them up, stain them up, however Aaron wants it to look. And I think that's gonna give a good look to basically cover all this up. Now, a couple things that we have to do is, number one, I don't know how strong these 6x6s are gonna be, or 2x6s are gonna be in between here. For example, if we push on this one, it's got a little bit of flimsiness to it. I did buy some stakes that will hold a 4x4 post that directly in the center of these two 6x6s, both in the front, in the middle, and of course from the side over here to the house. I bought some stakes that we can put down into the ground on the back side of here, and it basically gives us another post, but it'll be a 4x4. So that can screw to the deck and hold it nice and secure. It'll be staked down in the ground, and then we can just send some screws through the center of all of these into the 4x4, and that will make this not getting blown in, and it'll be actually really structurally sound. And then the other thing, we're probably gonna have to use 2 more stakes, because somewhere where we put an access door, we obviously need like a post on one side and a post on another. So basically we have a door frame so we can swing in or swing out to get access under here. And then the only other thing we have to do is, because these boards are going to be running from this 6x6 over to the house, because we have an ICF house, the 2x6s don't really have anything to attach over here. So this looks like the last Fox strip right here. So what we're probably gonna have to do is get like probably a 2x8 that goes from up here to down here, screw it into this Fox block, and then the edge that goes over to here, the 2x6 will run over here, and then we'll have to screw this way into the edge of that 2x8. That way all of this is secured and bolted into the house this way. But again, this isn't meant to hold up a ton of weight, even though the Fox strips are very strong. But again, that gives another reason why we should put a post right here in the center. So not only will these boards not sag over one day, because this is over 12 feet, but we'll also have strength here that it won't push in. And then again, the 6 foot or so that these boards are running this way, that one bolted to the house won't have to support a lot of weight that it's going to want to fall off, because there's so much support everywhere else. So again, that's the design that Aaron has gone with. You guys have told me not to trim the side of this, but again, we are going to trim out the front of this to make this look nice, cover up these brackets a little bit, and trim out the side over here. So we won't be seeing this with all of these screw holes, but the treads don't look bad because there are no screws or anything in there. So we can just paint and stain that and it'll look fine. So we'll be back in a little bit. We will purchase all of the lumber. We'll get started today. And then the only thing else we need to eventually finish out this deck 100% is we need to get railings on this, which I think it's kind of funny. I asked you guys on YouTube, I asked people on Instagram and even on Facebook, what is gonna look better, to trim the stairs or not to trim the stairs? But I cannot tell you how many people just commented and said, where are your railings? You need railings. That's not up to code. You're gonna fall off. You need railings. literally not the question that I asked. Of course I know we need railings, but it's just funny for people who always like to comment negative things and try to be like, oh, you did something wrong, you need to fix that, when that's not even in our wheelhouse that we're gonna do. Railings are coming much later, when we move into the house and we actually need the house to pass code. Then we'll put railings on and tell you guys what we're doing with those. All right, back home with the lumber. Aaron's gonna come out and help, but I don't know how much I'm gonna get done today because, again, I am tired, have been up all night, and I am dragging. So first thing that I'm gonna do is we're gonna do this middle section in here because it is the absolute shortest. So we're just gonna go from this beam right here to this beam right here underneath the stairs. And no, we're not going to do any boxing in actually underneath of the stairs. That's gonna all be open. It's just gonna be too hard to box in the stairs when they're at an angle. So just leave them open. We can blow leaves out and stuff at a later time, put in our river rock in there, and hopefully we don't have to do much in there, but we're just gonna box in everything up underneath here. Now, we do have a major problem that I noticed before, and basically it has to do with the gemstone. So even if I were to put 2x or whatever on the outside of here, equal with this, when you run them straight all the way over here, you can see that right there, if that was completely straight, I cut the gemstone back like 2 inches too far. So we have to figure out how to fill something in there with. But problem is, if we, on the sides here, we go even with this and we run it out to here, we can't put the boards on the front of this one because then we'll have an 1.5 inch overlay right here and it won't have a shingling effect for water. So not to mention this post, or if we do it the other way, I can't have a 2x here where basically you wouldn't see this 6x6 and then run the 2x's like this one right here behind it. Why would you want to see the front of a 6x6 here, but then the side of a 6x6 over here hidden? So it would make more sense to run the 2x's behind this one and behind this one, and then they'll meet up right here in the corner. But then of course, running the 2x's back here means that we have even more of the ICF exposed right here, because they're gonna end probably somewhere in there. So now we've got even more to fill in. So we got to figure out how we're going to fit this in, and we can either take our 2x's that I was talking about bolting down the here, instead of bolting them on the inside where the board would dead end right there, we might be able to run the board down in here and then have the 2x run this way, and we can screw this way into this 2x. So there's a few things we got to do. I got to get Aaron's opinion. Hopefully she likes the idea of putting them on the inside versus the outside, but we'll see how much we're gonna get done today. But let's knock out this center section real quick and ask her what way she thinks looks best. All right, 2 things. Number 1, the boards, are they gonna be installed like that behind the 6x6?
As opposed to like flush?
Yeah.
I don't know how they're supposed to be.
Well, we can't do that way on the front, because if we install the 2x's on the front, now they're overhanging 1.5 inches, and now this doesn't trickle down.
Okay, so there's your answer.
On the side though, you could install them over here because you have 1.5 inch underhang here and they could all run here. But wouldn't that be stupid to block this 6x6, but then have these ones run here and here, and you're having this 6x6 exposed? Wouldn't you just put them both behind? That way they're both exposed.
Yeah, whatever's on the front is what should be on the side.
Okay, here's a problem, major mess up, and you're gonna hate. Even if we installed them right here and ran these all the way over, we are 2.5 inch gap that you can see the ICF and the gemstone will not run flush to it.
Put something there and paint it black.
And the even bigger problem is if we put the boards behind the 6x6, that means that we have even more green ICF exposed.
I mean, something has to go there, and you have to paint it black, or you have to put a strip of gemstone. I don't know what to do.
I don't know where we're gonna get gemstone. What the hell are these white bugs? Well, the original plan was the boards were supposed to dead end right here, which the only way these boards would be secured to the wall is I was going to have to put a piece of lumber down here, screw it this way, and then these boards would be screwed this way into the lumber. But now it seems like the lumber has to go on this side, the boards have to go behind it, and the boards will get screwed this way and be attached into this lumber piece here that will run flush with the gemstone, can be painted black, and the boards will end here and will be painted black going this way too.
Okay.
I don't know what else to do.
I don't either.
Well, let's install the middle posts because those are only like 10 feet. We'll do them all the way down because they're going to get cut flush. And then we'll have to go this way. Come here and measure this. Hold it halfway. Over here. Hold it halfway. One 17.5. All right, I actually didn't get 2x. I actually went with deck material just because they're going vertical and they're 5.5 inches. I don't think these things are really gonna sag over time, but they're a little thinner, a little lighter, a little easier to install. They're not really supporting any weight, so they shouldn't really go anywhere. But I do have a question. How many people out there, be honest, how many people out there actually, number one, don't forget to put your safety goggles on? And two, how many people remember to put on the respirator? How many out there actually do that? About halfway?
Close.
Now the next one, go in the house. There's 2 pieces of drywall in there. Go get the thinner piece of drywall, that's a 1/2 inch. You'll take a piece and I'll take a piece, and we're gonna use that as a spacer to space out each one as they go down. I just got yelled at to take my scrub top off, but they're so damn convenient. So many pockets. I don't know how anyone ever at work works with just wearing a t-shirt without having pockets for everything. Holy shit. Look at the gaps.
I don't want to. What about them?
Look, one's touching and the other ones aren't anywhere close.
I see it. Hold on. Like in the middle, it's huge.
The boards are bent.
Well, shit.
Well, I wasn't planning on putting a 4x4 on this 10-footer, but you got boards that are basically touching and boards that I can fit my hand through. So probably gonna have to build some blocking out from here because this is indented. So build some blocking out run a 4x4 all the way down to the ground with a post. And then we're probably gonna have to put shims in here and bend these boards up and down, screw from the other side into the 4x4 to basically space out the center so that we get rid of that big gap or too little of a gap.
Nothing can ever be easy.
Well, that's the crap we live with and junk lumber that we pay for. Well, it's better, but it still ain't gonna be perfect. It's gotta be that middle board. I wonder, that's the worst one, if we remove that, but...
Out of all the panels, that's the one that matters the least because it's covered by the stairs.
Yeah, but we still need it.
They're all gonna have the same issue, but I'm just saying.
It still needs unbowed. Now the question is do we just bolt something to it like a 4x4 and not anchor it into the ground, or get an anchor it into the ground? Because if you do like a 4x4 from the top and the bottom and screw that in first, technically speaking, they shouldn't all bend at one point in time to where you shouldn't have a bottom. But even with all these bolted together, I mean, these are not 2x, so these are still pretty flimsy. But I'm wondering if you, I mean, not even a 4x4, it could just be a 2x4, just something to bolt them together. And then when we start shimming it and getting rid of this bow, oh, I don't even know which one's bowed. This one must be bowed up, this one must be bowed up. I don't know. I got a spare 4x4 on the back, we can at least play with it. Push on the board and keep it out. We need some freaking GRKs that are 3.5, 4.5, 5, 6 or 7 to do that, but
You don't have any?
not that long. All right, so we just got done. It is now all evenly spaced out 1/2 inch. I can't say that if I didn't bow them, like if the top one, for example, was bowed this way or bowed down, and we just evenly spaced them all off the top one, then that means each one of them as they went down, they bowed. And Aaron said the top one did look a little bit, I think, bowed up. So we either pulled them all up to equal in the middle or not, but I don't know. From the naked eye, this looks completely fine. If I go back out and put a level on it, yeah, we may be able to see, not that they're not level, but with the level being completely straight, we may be able to see in the center of one of the boards, maybe they bow up or down, but at least they're 1/2 inch, 100% everywhere now. The only thing is that I'm worried about, not that it's that big of a deal, if there is a strong wind blowing against this, because we did not anchor this bottom, this whole thing can still move a little bit. But since they are all connected now, it moves a lot less. And what I was talking about, one of the spikes for the side ones is one of these. The 4x4 post goes inside of there, and we hammer that down in the ground, and that will allow it not to move. However, just thinking real quick, what I could do to anchor that 4x4 is if I put maybe a concrete spike all the way down in the ground and drove it down in, then I could attach like a 6x or a 2x6 or something to that 4x4, run it down at an angle and drill it in sideways into that spike. And then that would allow that bottom not to kick out or move at all. And then that would just be kind of like kind of an angle strap or whatever you want to call it, just so it allows that not to kick out. But I don't even have enough of these because I wasn't planning on doing them on the front at all. I was just planning on doing them on the side. So I'll probably save these for the door frame that I was talking about. Whichever side we're going to put the access door on so it can swing open, we'll probably use 2 of these for 2 4x4s on each side. And the rest of these, like I said, we can just use some steel concrete stakes that can go down on the ground, put a lateral brace on there, and then that will allow that wall not to kick or really move that much. And if it does, it's not a big deal. We can recheck it over time. But I think that's gonna look good. And I think we can get moving on to now running this side over here, down there, running it long. We'll bring another one up this way, match it up so we know where to cut, and then we'll just keep on trucking. All right, so this one we're making sure it's straight as humanly possible, because as all these ones go down, when they start to bend, we'll know that if we get this one attached to a 4x4 running down, it'll be straight. And then the next ones, as we shim them out to make sure we got our 1/2 inch, they should all be pretty straight. Well,
oh, it looks real nice.
I'll have to see what it's colored, but I wouldn't say modern, but it looks mountain house.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't going for modern.
You said modern mountain house. Make up your mind.
You don't understand the term.
What is it then?
It's in my head.
Called?
In my head, it's called modern mountain, and only I know what it looks like.
That helps the builder.
You are the builder. You just do what I say.
Yeah, I would say that's 3/5 done. The only other thing I have to do, we did all of the 4x4s on the center. We got this corner cut down. I actually like the way that looks, how it comes out. That looks very log cabin-y kinda. The only thing, again, is these are still bendy. They're super tight. They're nice that they're all one piece. This side was a little bit special. The 4x4 up in there had to be notched just a little bit. I think I took barely an inch off, and then I actually did have GRKs that were long enough that could go through that and sink into the first joist. So GRKs on that one, very tight up in here. We just need to go underneath and, like I said, figure out some sort of pin, or I guess technically I could use lumber, but I think lumber will just snap. Like if I put a stake in the ground, I think it'll just snap. But down in here, actually, you can see everything looks very uniform. I love the fact that I put our joints on the inside, so everything looks like a continuous one piece except where the corners are gonna go. So when I was cutting those pieces in here, they can be ugly and disgusting. Who cares? Like right there, you got a big gap. Who cares? No one's ever gonna see that. On the outside, it looks freaking pristine and perfect. We just need to figure out again, the 4x4s, getting those staked down, and then I'll try and use these guys for the doorway. Probably put it over there on that side of the house, because you won't be able to see it from the driveway and you won't be able to see it walking up, but we'll know it's on that side facing the neighbors over there. So I'm gonna go pass out, get some much needed sleep, and then we'll finish this video up here, knocking out the other two sides. And then again, I really don't know what we're gonna do on railings. That'll be another day, another time. Getting the lower skirts on.
You texted and said to me, "Are we still burning the ceiling?" And I said, "Yep." And then you immediately said, "No." So why'd you ask?
I don't know. Still thinking about what I'm going to do with this ceiling. Should we stain it or should we paint it? Or should we burn it? If we burn it and it's outside and something does go wrong one day, there's no real way to fix it except completely replace the board. If we paint it or stain it, there is a fix because we can always use some, like if I wanted to cover all these screw holes up, I could put some sort of filler, some wood glue filler, sawdust type glue mixture, put it over that. I could sand it and then you would never know there's a screw there. That can be done up there. But if I burn it, then I don't think you can reburn glue and think that that's going to look good. So
last question.
Huh?
When are we looking into material to box out these beams?
We have to get all more LP Smart siding.
For what?
We're running out. We only have 5 more pieces of LP Smart siding, so I'm going to use 4 pieces on the deck alone. So again, like 10 inches long to cover up 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I've got 1 piece left. I don't know how I made the mistake. I've already talked about this in another video that I'm making. We'll just see which one gets put out first. But that's all the LP that I've got left. So I need a lot more pieces over there and then all the way down the backside. Luckily down the backside, we've got so many windows. Below the windows, I've got scrap that might fit that. Above the windows, I think it's only 7 inches. So tons of scrap that I can use for that. So I just need maybe 20 more or so. But again, I don't know how I got so far off on my math that I basically have no LP to go anywhere down there except for above the windows and below some of the windows, but is what it is, I guess. Oh, and one more thing. Someone had asked in the comments before, what are we gonna do underneath of the deck? Really, it's done. I'm not gonna do anything with it. I think the rubber wall gives enough protection that nothing's gonna happen in there. Obviously rain can't get in there, wind blowing in can't get in there. You're never gonna see the green paint in there. So there's really nothing to do. Why spend the money on doing something else when you got a thick layer of rubber? If it was constantly in the sunlight and stuff like that, sure, the rubber will break down, discolor over time, etc. But that's just not gonna happen the way that we're doing this deck, especially under roof. The biggest thing that I'll have to keep track of is the back porch underneath of the deck, where that falls on where we don't have a roof. So from this corner over to where the roof is, none of that gets protected. Well, we'll have to see what happens to that over time as raindrops drip down and everything like that. And same goes on the other side where we've got the step down deck. We'll have to see what happens to the rubber wall to the house with that. Maybe I'll have to put something up, maybe I won't. Till another day, we finish up this side. I will see you guys a little bit later. All right, that was a little easier than I thought. It did move a little bit. Holding it straight's not that easy. But screwed into here, we've got some bigger holes on the side or the back side here that I can put a GRK. So that way this 4x doesn't ever come out of here. But then if we go get some like 7-inch long GRKs, we can send it through the back end here and the top here. It should suck that in a little bit because it kind of like was bending out. As I was hitting it kind of towards me, it was pulling it this way, but that seems nice and firm. Obviously we're just trying to stop a front and back motion. Really the only thing that's gonna do is a wind-driven rain or a wind push here, so that should hold up no problem. Well, I'm an idiot. I just went to the store, got a couple more of these metal posts, the GRKs that I wanted, and then I totally forgot about the door. So I need hinges, I need a latch, and any other material I may need to like box this in, because if we're using these, I need to build a box around it, and then that will hinge open and close. So have to go back to the store again, but these seem to be working. They can draw them into each other. There you go. Tight as can be. I'm just putting in kind of one up top and one right below it, just for extra security. And now this is absolutely tight as a drum. This can't go anywhere. The only thing that could potentially happen is in the winter, because these are only about 30 inches long. We're not below the frost line. The ground could technically shift and want to move and kind of loosen this up, but hopefully not. And hopefully it doesn't like pick up on this and make this warp or move bad or anything. But hopefully there's enough of a gap and everything that there is a little bit of leeway and everything. But that is absolutely tight as a drum. So I'm gonna put one more in down there, and then I've got two more left. I bought all the posts they had. I think I'm one short, but I'm gonna try to build at least the doorway opening today, and we'll make it big enough so that we can get the tractor in and pull stuff in and out of here for storage if we need to. And then we'll just focus on the door another day. Okay, so we just started the doorway. I just went ahead and picked 40 inches out. We got that 2x connected to the ICF wall, connected into this way, so now that can't move. And then we got our blocking there. I did set that a little bit out to the outside. That will kind of be like the door stop. So if you grab the door handle right here and open this up, it can't go too far in because it'll hit the 4x4 post down there on the bottom. And then all of those are cut to the exact same length. And the only difference between all of the other posts, this one actually had to be installed onto this one because difference being, I think I only grabbed a 2x6 for this one, and I grabbed a 2x8 for the other one. So this one may be a little cantilevered off to the side, about 1.5 inches, but over 12 feet, you're not gonna see it. And that's because 5.5 inches over here, but you got 1.5 inches here. While the 5.5 inch over there, we don't have the 1.5 inch offset, because then the gemstone wouldn't have matched up if I pushed it in another 1.5 inches. So technically speaking, it's not perfect, but I don't think anyone's gonna see it. But now we just need to figure out how big the tractor is and how big of a doorway we want. So if Aaron wants to park the John Deere under here so that the Kubota can go into the shed, this should have a nice storage space. The only thing, the bad part in here is mice can get up into it, which they're going to get in here probably and look for stuff. But once we put in the river rock all around the outside, that'll definitely keep out all of the big critters. We shouldn't have to worry about raccoons or anything getting in there. But I'm going to measure real quick, see how big the door opening needs to be. We'll put the other 4x4 in, come on over, and then we just got to figure out at a later time how we actually want the door to swing and what hinges we want. All right, another day coming to a close. We just got to go ahead and get some hinges and stuff for the door, but everything is done. It's straight. The only problem is this corner is jacked up. That 6x6 I think is a little bit cockeyed like that. It's not like even all the way down the front of the deck. This post out here is a little bit kicked outwards towards the front yard, so that's why I had to do measurements. So that post is what, 3/4 of an inch kicked out from top to bottom, so not great. But as you're looking here, you can kind of sort of see it because you got a 3/4 inch gap over a 5 foot or a 4-foot run, 5-foot run, however tall that is. So it's a little messed up, but it's not gonna hurt anything. Just something, it may catch your eye every once in a while, but it is what it is. So, but that is done. That corner's done. We just got to figure out the door. We got to figure out the LP up top, and then we'll bring in the river rock to go all down along through here. And then the last thing besides the LP up there, I got 2 more pieces of lumber that are already pre-stained, but these are 2x8s. So not only do I have to rip cut them down to fit a little bit better on this so they don't hang off so much, but I am also going to have to re-round the edges once they get rip cut. And because they are a 2x, that means that I have to go from 1.5 inch shrunk all the way down to 5/8 to whatever this true thickness of this lumber size is. So that's going to take a little bit of work on those last 2 boards there. But once those are knocked out and the LP is put up, I think we can pretty much call the deck done. So until then, until another day, until I figure out however I'm going to do all this, we'll be back. Hey everybody, welcome back for hopefully the last day of the porch here. We got a little bit to do, and if you noticed, we got some more stone in here. If you guys are following us on Instagram, NeckofTheWoods 2020, you'll see that we got a dump truck of about 7 tons, and that filled up everything in here. I didn't go all the way to the deck yet because we still have to paint that, and I didn't want the paint getting on the stone. But that is our river rock number 4 that we ended up getting, and we got it all down throughout here and pretty much got this whole side of the house done. We just still have to again put it up next to the porch underhangs there, or side skirts, so that we can finish that out completely. Erin still says she wants to do some landscaping in here. So we'll have to pull some of the rock out, lay some dirt, put something in there, and then push the stone back, and then hopefully that works out okay. But that's what we got so far. Unfortunately, in this video, we are not going to be able to paint anything at all. My buddy who works at Sherwin-Williams, basically he said, anytime you have treated lumber, you want to wait about 6 months before you paint it, or you run the risk of the paint like being chipped off or pushed off, because as the chemicals in the treated lumber are off-gassing, basically that off-gassing can push everything off. So I can't do the skirts yet, but technically I could do the 6x6s. I cannot do this side skirt yet, and I can't do the stairs, but the deck's getting close. The deck's been installed for almost 3 months, I think. So we're getting close that we could stain that, but these are treated boards on top of, they've already been stained once, so we might as well just do everything at once and paint and stain when we're ready. And we were able to get a paint and a stain to do the same color, because when today, hopefully when we're finished here, when we put the LP on here and we cover all of that up, that's going to get painted, but everything else is going to get stained. So I'm not sure how the LP basically will take stain. So we just got a little quart of paint for the LP, and then we got a couple gallons obviously for the stain. So that's what we got to do with that, but that's going to come at a later time to get the color that we want. Today basically I'm just going to focus on that LP to finish out the sides. I've got to cut these 2x8s down to whatever length I need so that they fit right there. Then we have to plane them down, and then I've got to go to the store real quick and get a router bit so we can put that rolled edge back on there, because once those are cut and planed, we're going to have a complete sharp 90 degree, and that's not going to match anything else on the front here as you're looking out. And then this time when I'm actually at Home Depot, remember to get some hinges and a lock, and then we can maybe actually finish out this door too. So at least for right now, let's get started. All right, time to head to the store now Everything is caulked and sealed, and I even put some caulking up around where this edge, I guess, could have stuck out a little bit further. So these boards, the water is probably going to want to roll off here, and instead of getting back in there in between the crack of the LP and where the deck boards are, I just ran a bead of caulk in there so water can't get in there, and it's going to want to drain down and drop off this drip edge here. So that is all how that's going to look. Like I said, we need to go buy some hinges, we need to buy a door latch, and then I think I've got some treated lumber down in the basement, some 2x4s that we can build a box so that those boards can attach to, and that will make like the door, and then we can set it up there and attach the hinges. And then the only other thing I did kind of off camera, I had to modify the edges because this board over here, for example, if you look at these two, basically you can see the white of the LP. That's obviously going to all be caulked and hidden by this last board here. But in between those two boards right there, you can see a piece of LP, and that is not caulked, and water is going to get down in there. So I did unfortunately have to end up trimming these boards back, these two on the edge. Had to cut them back, had to add in one more piece of blocking so they would actually have something to screw down to, because they were unsupported basically for a foot or more. But now they're screwed down to a piece of blocking, so the edge board is going to go all the way over and match up with the edge out there, which that one board is completely done. It is planed down. I just need to also go get a router bit to roll those edges, so that board will look like all of these boards. And I think the only other thing I'm not going to probably get today, I've taken this board up here too many times and it just looks like crap now. So I'll just run that board up to that corner right there, do the other one from there up to that corner, and then I'll just purchase a new board in there so it looks nice and fresh and clean. So off to the store real quick, we'll use the router, we'll get that board screwed down, and then like I said, it'd have to be in a later date, but we'll be staining these deck boards and we'll be painting the LP, and then hopefully this porch will be 100% done here coming up shortly. All right, back from the store, I got the cutter that hopefully fits that curved edge. I've actually never used this router before, and this is the first bit I've bought, so hopefully I can do this easily. But let's get this one set up. We're losing daylight, so I'm just gonna cut these edges real quick, and then hopefully we can get over to the door and build it real quick and finish that out. Yeah, that looks like what we want. That's got a nice rounded edge now. So just do it on all four sides, and then this board will be ready to bolt down, and this side of the house will be done. All right, that looks freaking good. You can barely tell that that board is just ever so slightly, maybe a ½ inch wider than the other boards so that we could get our overhang there. But now all I have to do is caulk up with the overhang just to give that a little bit more protection underneath there. But that rolled edge looks good, that it's equal to the other one. And then we just need to do that one more time over here. But like I said, we're losing daylight, so I want to knock out this door real quick and see what we can get done over here. Right, everybody, well, I'm wrapping this up. Unfortunately, that door didn't work out too well, even though I saved the boards so that they would all be back in their right spot from like board 1 through 9. The edge over here just doesn't work out. All of the edges are just completely off, some too tight, some too far away. So I'm gonna just basically replace them one at a time and go get some new boards so that I get my line over here perfect and I get my line over here perfect, or as perfect as it is, like over here where I got it. So 3 hinges over here, a latch over here. We can put a lock on this too. That way we can lock the tractor up so no one can basically come over and steal it when we're gone. And then the only other thing I have to do is that door does want to fall down, so I got to put in a cross brace in the back there, attaching that. But that'll work. Hopefully once it's painted, it'll all blend in and it will look nice. But like I said, unfortunately, just for the boards, we've got to go get our spacing correctly, and we've got to get our edges on the side here cut perfectly, because that just didn't work out. I think it's because, again, that bottom or this outside pier right here is kind of kicked out. So all of these boards ended up being different lengths, but that still doesn't make any sense that I put those in there straight as an arrow up and down on each side. Those boards should have gone back in, keeping the boards the same, but they were just all different and none of them were going to match up 100%. So not a big deal. Just replace them one at a time and get them cut out. But that's where I'm going to cut this video, guys. So now you've got an idea what the deck is 100% going to look like. We just have to get it painted and stained. You can see what the stone's going to look like. Obviously, again, Erin's going to probably figure out where she wants to do some landscaping and everything. And then the last thing that we have after we paint and everything is we've got to figure out our deck railing system. That will be to come later down the road when we decide what company and what look we actually want to go for with a railing system. But that's finishing up the front porch, guys. It'll be on to the back porch next. Waiting for the time, probably next spring for all of these, basically, as my painter said, or my Sherwin-Williams friend said, to let all the off-gassing like bleed out so that way it doesn't push the paint or the stain off. Although for stain, I think it would be less of a big deal. But that's what it looks like again. So if you guys like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you guys want to personal message us on Instagram and follow us for more content, we are at NeckofTheWoods 2020 over there. And comment down below if you guys got anything to say. So until then, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.